Yeah. I'll tell you. Yes, you don't want to do that when I'm recording. All right. So one of the things that terminates that we talked about in there was this thing called expiration. If the listing expires, there is no general mandate for how long a listing is. I will tell you, it seems to be, rule of thumb, 6 months. All right? You can make them 5 months. You can make them a year. Kind of depends. The guy that I told you that's got the house at $2.4 million signed a year listing. That's a house that's not going to probably go very quickly. So as you get higher in price, the listings can change too. But either way, they've got to have an expiration date. They must be a defined expiration date. They cannot self-renew. So at the end of the expiration date, you are supposed to go out there and go, hey, can we extend the listing? If so, we need to modify the original listing agreement so that we can have the new listing agreement and extend the date.
Can we not do that before it fully expires, or do they require,
No, you can go out typically a week before, and that's probably the best, because you want to make sure you get into the MLS and change the listing date before it does expire, because once it expires, it goes to another part of the MLS and the house is quote-unquote off the market. So yeah, if you knew it expired like next Monday, you might go this weekend and go, okay, can we get an extension signed? And then I'll go into the MLS and change the expiration from Monday until February of next year.
So there's a whole other list of houses that have expired?
Yes.
So you can contact those people?
That's the second. Remember I told you earlier there were two lists that are called, that are warm leads, and you guys guessed was FSBO. The second one half are called expireds. And you could go into the MLS today and see every house that expired today, and then you send them a letter and go, hey, I saw your house was for sale, yada, yada, yada. Use me, and I'll put it back on the market, and all that. That's the second list of warm leads your broker will talk to you about.
Can you see what, like, the commission that they were
Nope.
going to get?
Well, you see the old MLS sheet that expired. So you see what the BAC paid out was, but you don't know what the listing agreement was between the original listing agent and the client. The other problem is you don't know who you sort of don't know who the client is. I mean, you have to jump through some hoops. You have to go to the tax record and then look at that. And once again, that's only the owner of record, may not really be the owner. And that record doesn't give like contact information. You can't just go, oh, there's their email and email them. You know the address and you know it's Bob Smith, so I could put something in the mail to that address addressed to Bob Smith. Or you could go and show up and walk up and knock on the door. I've seen that happen. That's becoming less and less popular in today's society of nut jobs.
I have a question. When you're dealing with...
You have a question?
Yes, a question.
That's rare. It's usually about 100. Okay, what's your A question?
If you get a listing like from public records, like for probate, and you're dealing with selling somebody's estate, and the estate belongs to a group of
You can't have like an easy question.
I'm sorry. If it's a group of siblings who own it, who is responsible for...
Who's responsible for selling an estate? We already went through this. In probate, they're called the... Anybody? The executor. The will names an executor. So it doesn't matter if there's 12 million siblings or two, the will identifies one contact person. That's who would be the key point on an estate, would be the executor, that, and they were the ones that quote unquote make the decision. They are the ones that get to argue with all their brothers and sisters, get an answer, come back to you and go, here's what we want to list at. You don't poll all the people, you just talk to the executor. And they have the power to sign, you know, in the name of their parent as executor of the will. So it would be just one, and the good thing for you is it's identified, so you know who it is. That way someone can then go, no, it's me, no, it's me. Really? Where's the will?
So the executor of the will is listed in the public records?
It's enlisted in the will, which is probably one of the things you would ask for. if you're listing an estate. Who's the executor? I need proof. The court would generate proof of that because they're going to sign several things. So there is no automatic extension. Got to go out and find it. Now, there is this other thing called the broker protection clause that I want to talk about. The broker protection clause is in this paragraph, and what it's designed to do is this. Let's go through a fake scenario, and it'll show up. Suppose I have an open house on Sunday. Buyer walks into the open house. The buyer has no agent, didn't lie, nothing. It's a legitimate story. That would make me, what? Limited agency, right? I've got the listing since I'm the one having the open house. Buyer comes in on Sunday with no agent. That makes me limited agent. I get to be his selling or the buyer rep, and I'm the listing rep, right? We're good. He says, you know what? I got to go. I forgot something at home. I'm leaving. So he leaves. Monday, your listing expires. Tuesday, the guy walks back into your office and says, hey man, I'm sorry about Sunday, I had to leave, but I'm ready to buy right now. I've got cash in my pocket. But listing expired yesterday. We have a clause called the buyer protection clause, which says this. For so many days past the expiration, that number is blank in our listing agreement. Your managing broker will tell you what number he wants you to put in there. After all, it's his client. All right? And it can be anything. 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, 1.84 million days. Doesn't matter. You fill it in. So what the broker protection clause says is, in this particular case, I write 7 days in. It says this: any buyer that would have been my buyer during the listing is also my buyer for 7 days past the expiration. This is designed so that the seller can't stand in the open house on Sunday and go, psst, psst, if you wait till Tuesday, I don't have to pay a realtor, you can just buy it then. That's why it's a protection. All right? Now, there are two caveats to this. The assumption is both of these or one of these can't happen. So I call the seller on Tuesday and go, hey, I know that you wanted to sell your house and it expired, but we got a buyer here. Do you still want to sell? If they say, no, we have not selling, we have changed our mind, we have decided not to sell, then the broker protection clause doesn't matter because they're not selling. We found out Bob's not losing his job, so we decided to keep the house. We're not interested in selling. Thank you, you did a good job. All right? Or, so in the case when they say no, what happens? You lose, yeah, the technical term, you're screwed. You lose both sides because there's no more the listing and no more buyer because they're not selling. Or the second scenario is they go, yes, we are still interested in selling. As a matter of fact, we just signed a new listing agreement with Josh, and he's pulling out of the driveway right now. That also kills my buyer, or the protection clause. All right? So if they're not interested in selling, or they are and they've already re-signed, but here's the good thing. I am not completely screwed in this case because what do I have? I at least have the buyer now. So I would call Josh as he's pulling out of the driveway and go, dude, shortest listing you've ever had. Because I've got the buyer in my office with cash right now. All right? So the broker protection clause protects us and gives us the limited agency. We get the listing and the buyer, providing they still want to sell and they haven't relisted. If they don't want to sell anymore, that kills it. Or if they want to sell and they've relisted, that kills it. That's what the broker protection clause does. It allows us some protection beyond that listing, because this will happen in real life. Not the shady kind of thing. This kind of stuff will happen. The last day of the listing, someone will look at it. Someone will look at it and then say, oh, hey, stuff happened over Monday and Tuesday, but I'm back, I'm ready to buy. They didn't know it expired. Now, what it doesn't protect, this new guy walks off the street and said, hey, I saw your ad in the newspaper. I couldn't make it to the open house, but I'm here now, let's buy. No, you weren't my client during the listing. So doesn't protect me with you. It only protects people that would have been my client during the listing. Got it? The new guy's not protected. Just the guy that came in on the Sunday open house. Let's change audio.